July 24th. Well, I've been out here pulling water hemp out of this soybean field here. Got more to do, I'll get back to it. But I wanted to talk about the sweet Grazer Sorghum project over here on this 2-acre piece. And right over there is the red clay. That's red clay. It's surface red clay. You dig down 5 feet, it's still red clay. And I've got a thin patch of sorghum. It's a very, very light pale green. This heat drought, I didn't expect to get anything in that, but praise God for what I do have in that. Now, if you come on down towards here, you'll see a dark green texture, and then slightly above that, it's not quite as dark green. And as you go on out across there, it stays dark green. What that's the result of is years and years after years of soybean on that land. There's a lot of nitrogen in that land, and that sweet Grazer sorghum is picking it up and thriving. And that rain yesterday has really perked it up, made it look good. All right, let's see if I can drive on over there and get a closer look at it without getting stuck. I don't want to get stuck. Getting stuck would mess up my day. But I think I can make it to that edge over there and go down the edge of it. Getting across that little bottom piece, see, this is a waterway, and all that rain yesterday coming down through here. Plus, I didn't want to rut it up, but we shot right over here. All right, now I'm in the shade of the pecan tree, the non-producing pecan tree. Nobody around to make it do its thing. But this is coming along nice, and let's see, I'll get out of the shade so you can actually see what I was talking about. All right, Snake, I'm walking through here. You better get out of the way. All right, I'm out of the shade now, so that's full sun on that. And it's thick and looking good. And last time I was out here looking at it, showing it to y'all, I mentioned something about a little bit of weed pressure. I'm no longer concerned about that. I've got this, with the rain that came in yesterday and the way this stuff kept struggling along and trying to grow, it's going, next week, this stuff will be so thick the weeds won't have a chance. So, anytime you're going to just ignore weeds and let them become an issue on your land and you're trying to farm and raise a clean and decent crop, that's not a wise thing to do. But this is working out nice. You can see, where I stopped the truck in the shade makes that look darker green, but this right here has a nice dark green to it, and that's a good sign of how much nitrogen is in it. I can see a little bit of streaking in it from, I think that's from where we messed land up with the plow. But I'm not concerned about that. You can fix it. I've got perfect little disc for fixing it, and it's just what I've learned last year about diagonal cutting with that disc. I'll fix it. Now, the total program, a couple of people asked me what the plan was here. This year, like I said, day's July 24th. This year, this stuff just sit out here and grow. I want it to go ahead and, I was thinking about cutting it with jive mower in August, but I think I'm just going to let it grow and go and make it seed head. And if I remember correctly, last time I did this project, it'll make seed head sometime in September. And then I'll take the jive mower to it and just mow it and let it scatter it and knock the seed to the ground. But I'll mow it and leave it about that tall and let it sit over the winter with seed scattered all over the ground out here. And next spring, when soil temperature gets right, all that seed that got knocked and scattered to the ground germinate, sprout, come up, got a second crop. Plus all the leafy matter still laying on the surface. So you don't put a disc in it. You keep the disc out of it. And I've let this land sit over here almost a year without a disc in it until we put the plow in it to turn it and prepare it for this. So then there'll be a second year, which will be, this is 2019, that'll be 2020. You'll let that second free crop come up in here, grow again, and come along again in the winter time, because you're not too interested in making that third crop, because I need to get it back into production with beans. But come along November, depending on when I got the time to do it, and just mow it off and let it lay. And then the next April, you come out here, take the disc, whatever tool you decide to use, fix the land, prepare the land, and put beans on it again. Now, the vast majority of all this is sand, and what I'm hoping is to get all this organic matter into this sand, and that'll help it to hold moisture better. This field right here is one of the ones that this drought hot spell we just went through, this field will be dead. It's one of the ones that just got to have water. Now, that spot right up there was red clay, and it's come up nice and thick in that, so I'm happy about that. But anyhow, that's my plans with this, and I'm well pleased. That rain yesterday did a fine thing. The other spot that I showed you in the other video is doing pretty doggone good too, and since it's between me and the house, we'll stop by there and take a look at it. A little patch of sweet Grazer sorghum that I'm doing as a soil improvement project, and this is filled in nicely out there on the center where the red clay is at, and you don't see hardly any signs of there being any nitrogen there. The temptation to put nitrogen on it is there in me, but as hot as it gets here in North Carolina in the summertime, unless I set up some kind of way to put water on it, I'd end up burning it up and killing it. So yeah, I might try to put a little bit on it to, you know, get it to grow and be thick. But this out here on the edge, you can see how well it's doing. It's coming on nice. It'll do the thing. But you can, I'm just pleased to have that stuff growing in there. It'll work. The edges of the field got decent dirt, so they're growing nicely. It's just good to see something coming up in the center. Let's walk over here and take a look at this little piece where I no-tilled with a grain drill. No-tilled with a conventional grain drill. And this spot never did really look horrible during all that excessive heat drought. I still haven't sprayed it, but all that water yesterday is going to make it jump. And I don't know, I'm thinking about spraying it with a backpack. Ground's way too wet, the beans are getting up to the height where they need to be sprayed, and I can spray this with a backpack in not that long. Take about 4 tanks to do it. But then again, the boom sprayer's still put together, so I don't know. Let the ground dry out. Come in here. I need to spray it. It's got, you know, weeds coming up in it, and that rain yesterday is going to make it a lot worse. But this probably could turn out to be a real nice little patch of beans. But I'm just blown away with the row population on this. Well, we'll come back and look at it again later. Got a heavy grass problem right up there. No-till with a conventional grain drill. Yep.